Hi, I'm Maria Rosati, CEO of Eminence Communications. Today I'm joined by Chris Cooper, Area Wealth Executive for Regions Bank. Chris, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Maria.
Today we're going to be talking about wealth considerations for business owners. So Chris, let's get to the first question. Why should a small business or a business have a goal-based plan?
Well, I think if 2020 has taught us anything, it's that there's many things beyond our control. And, having a goal-based plan in place is not perfect, but it certainly does give you something to refer back to when things beyond your control happen and when there is a significant pause in business operations. So I think it's important for business owners to, even though there's tremendous grabs for their time and there's certainly no excess time for them, it's important to make time available on the calendar to have the planning conversations and to consider, what do I have in place in the event that there's a pause in business? Is there significant cash flow or cash reserves that can carry us through? Is there a line of credit in place? Do we have contingency planning? And really talk through those issues in advance, knowing that you can't always get it exactly right, and you can't certainly have a crystal ball, but having some plan in place is superior to not.
Okay, so how should they value their business for sale?
Well, certainly, every business owner probably has a number in mind, and it's generally some function of revenue or EBITDA. While it is costly and time consuming to have a formal business valuation in place, a lot of times we find that process is worthwhile and justified. And beyond that, and not just having an external valuation done for your own negotiating power, I think it's important that business owners consider, what realistically do I do when the offer comes in? Because just as with a real estate transaction, there's the appraised value, but the actual value is what someone's willing to pay you for it. So I think a lot of business owners sometimes get caught when they get a significant offer that they weren't anticipating. It's very easy when you get a lowball number. It's easy to say no and to continue to run your business. But what do we do when there's a significant offer that's higher than what you anticipated? And how do we work through those things? And are there going to be non-compete clauses or employee considerations that we have to figure out? And what does that ownership structure look like?
That's very interesting. So let me ask you, when is the best time to create a business succession plan? Is it early on?
As early as possible. And again, I'm very sympathetic to the fact that a business owner is focused on the business, and that needs to take up the majority of their time. But every single one of us at some point in time is going to retire. Every single one of us is going to die. And unless you're going to own your business forever, then you need to have some sort of a plan in place, and you need to be prepared for not just yourself and your family and what that event will do for the business owner family, but how it impacts key employees and how it impacts all the stakeholders of a business.
With that said, a lot of small businesses make the mistake of not separating their personal and their business wealth. Let's talk about that.
I think the main thing is just to be mindful of the difference between the two early on and often, and stay mindful of that. Business owners, again, are very focused on wealth creation, on what we call human capital, which is the ability to generate income, to generate profits within your business, but sometimes don't pay attention to the financial capital that piles up as they enjoy success and the business starts to enjoy success. So all of us at some point in time will transition from human capital providing all of our income and our wealth, and really then needing our financial capital to provide that. And when you're making that transition, that is not the right time to kind of reintroduce yourself to your financial capital or really get to know it for the first time. It's important to understand that along the way, and keeping it separate as you're building wealth, and really understanding how those two sets of capital work separately, but ultimately towards the same goals, is very important.
Let's turn to selling your business. What are the challenges of selling your business internally versus externally?
Well, I think certainly internally, we sometimes find that while the business owner identifies either family members or key employees or some combination of the two, that they're certainly capable of taking over the business. The challenge becomes the financing. And so, oftentimes the business owner in an internal sale ends up owner financing that transaction, which can create a number of challenges. And then, the contrast to that is if you go with an external buyer, depending on what that structure looks like, it's important to consider, like if we have an infusion of a private equity partner, they come in, they're actually going to want to take over majority ownership stake early and eventually have an exit strategy for that company. So there's challenges in both, and I think, again, reserving time for planning and thinking through these issues before the transaction is forced upon you is probably the most solid advice we can give.
Okay, so once your business is sold, what's next?
That is a really good question. I like to say I've been doing this for 23 years now, and I've unretired exactly one client. And it was not because he ran out of money. It was because he was coming by my office and wanting to look at the stock market and discuss things all day long, and he had no plan for what to do to occupy his time. So I think, asking the question, now that I've sold my business, what's next? It's more than just a financial question. It's a quality of life question. How are you going to fill your days? Where are you going to get that sense of purpose that you had from running your business? And what are you going to do to feed that entrepreneurial spirit that got you to be a business owner in the first place? So challenging question, and one that needs to probably be entered into with some objective parties to help you with that. You know yourself better than anyone, but sometimes it helps to have a partner to extract some of those thoughts and feelings from you.
So I guess what to do next should be part of your succession planning.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's something that I think we in this industry need to get better at asking. Is not just the financial questions. We can define your retirement or your succession in terms of math and cash flow. That's the easy part. The challenging part is, realistically, the transaction's done, the smoke is cleared on everything. You feel good about how that business succession went through, but now what are you going to do? And what does the next 20 years look like for you? And that's very difficult for clients at times. And unfortunately, that's also where some of our most rewarding work comes in play.
Chris, great to have you here today to talk about wealth considerations for business owners. I look forward to talking to you again.
Thank you, Maria.